almost 50.
Yeah. The further old age seems to be. It's always, old age always seems to be about like 20 years older than what you are.
I remember being like 5 or 10 years old. My parents were 40, and I'm like, that's old.
That's old.
Oh, you remember that place up on the left? They have the fries, the Newfoundland fries.
Yes.
They have the gravy, the cheese, the stuffing. It's like $2.39. So yeah, from like the, how long did it take you to do this math? Like the, right?
From start to finish, off and on for, well, a few hours off and on. Like I would do a little bit and then I'd put it away, and then I'd come back and then I'd go through the sites again, and then I would say, okay, from here to here, it's just, okay, that's too far. And then I found one that was closer, and I'm going, oh fuck, but it's $250 a night. I'm not doing that.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
So I'd have to redo it. It takes a long time to like. It sounds easy, but when you try to plan it, it's just. No, see now I can't do it. Alright, so we've got. Just says go to South Coast Road towards Garner. I don't know which way Garner Avenue is, so.
Well, it'll tell you to reroute if you make the wrong turn, so.
It's not saying anything. Look, it's not even moving, babe. Is there something wrong with it?
Continue on South Coast Road
No, there you go.
2 kilometers. This route avoids road closures on Garner Road. You are on the fastest route. You should reach your destination by 7:55 p.m.
Look at these gorgeous houses look right there.
Oh, they're really nice. Another little roundabout.
Yep. And it says we have to go left.
In 400 meters, turn right onto South Coast Road.
What?
It is South Coast.
It said to go to Stonehenge, though, to go this way. Because we were just on South Coast.
Continue on Golf Links Road for 1 kilometer.
Is that another cemetery? Oh, look at this building with the clock. Lovers Lane is to the left.
Continue on Sulphur Springs Road for 1.5 kilometers.
Oh, really? Okay. And then we'll arrive there.
Whoa, it's so dark out here.
I know.
You sure you didn't take the wrong turn?
In 300 meters, your destination will be on the right.
It's Ghost Walks. See, this is where.
How is everyone this evening?
Good.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff, and I am your ghost guide for tonight. Now that is Jeff with a G. G is a Saxon G. But I am not born of the Saxons. I'm born of the Irish. My family emigrated to Canada during the Great Potato Famine. Now you might be looking at me thinking, what does this have to do with the price of tea in China as we stand here this evening? Well, I'm going to tell you, we Irish are a very superstitious bunch, and none better to walk you through these haunted and cursed lands than an old Irish codger. Now did I say cursed? Ho ho ho! I said cursed. And as we read these stories tonight, and you come out of here, you will understand a lot better why we say cursed. Now we're going to start with some history. It's history that will tie us to this place and give us a little bit of an understanding, perhaps, why some of these ghosts may lurk. Now, it all started with a simple word, and that word is loyalist. United Empire loyalists. Those were the first people to inhabit these lands other than the original indigenous inhabitants. The first two to arrive were Richard Beasley and James Wilson, two very enterprising young men. That creek that you hear behind there powered their business. They were millers, and they started a mill. Then all of a sudden, once the mill starts up, farms start popping up, and town starts to rise. But Wilson and Beasley were not town builders. Along comes a gentleman by the name of Jean-Baptiste Rousseau. He understood infrastructure, he understood what was needed, and sure enough, got to work. Well, it wasn't long after when Lieutenant Governor John Graves Simcoe hears about something going on out here. So who arrives but he? He was so impressed, he bestowed the name Ancaster on this town. Ancaster was the name of the town that Simcoe came from in Great Britain. So now we've got a name. Ancaster is one of the three oldest settlements in Upper Canada, the other being Niagara-on-the-Lake, and Kingston, and Upper Canada is now Ontario. So let's move forward. We're going to move forward to 1812. 1812, the Americans were becoming expansive. They kicked the British out, and sure enough, those pesky Americans wanted some more land, and they wanted this land. They wanted Ontario. A lot of the local politicians didn't really have the taste in their mouth to battle. They wanted to capitulate, but Britain would not allow it. Britain would go to war, and war would be upon us. Now, Ancaster didn't necessarily have to worry about direct confrontation. Men and troops were moving by water and cart paths that were very close to the lake. But this town was the economic engine. It was driving our troops and militia, and it was providing a lot of the food that was needed. So the Americans really wanted to win this war. And what they would do is they would set spies up in Ancaster. Now the locals knew. The locals knew who was who and what was what. And by the end of the war, 15 stand accused of treason. Once the trials were over, 7 of those individuals were convicted of treason, and they were sentenced to death. The death was to be drawn and quartered. Now, if you are not familiar with that execution is meant to send a very direct message. It is gory, it is violent. Now, these men were held in the Ancaster mill, and on execution day, they were loaded into a cart, and that cart was driven down to Burlington Heights and the big cemetery in Hamilton. Now, I'm standing on this big porch. When those men got there, there would have been something very similar, and it was a gallows. Those gallows were not meant to kill them. They were meant to render them incapacitated. So there would be a gallows set up with 7 trapdoors and 7 ropes. If they were to be executed by hanging, that rope would have a big knot on it. When they would drop through, that knot pushes forward and breaks the neck. But these were simple nooses, no knots. Executions were public. Ladies and gentlemen and children would be in their Sunday best. Refreshments would be sold. It was a party atmosphere. But again, this execution was meant as a message. Now the hangman, the executioner, he would line those men up over those trapdoors. He would put the ropes over them. They would put a hood over their head. There would be loud last words, and they would be given a prayer before they went. Now, public execution. Executioner would stand here with a lever. That lever, when it was dropped, would open the trap doors and down those would go. But this was, as I said, a message. The executioner would hold that lever and would not drop it. The crowd would become frenzied. Drop him now, for king and for country! Kill the traitors! And when those people were worked up enough, that executioner would drop that lever and boom, those men would go down until they eventually would go quiet. Now down on this end there was a table. On that table were several cutting instruments, in particular a very long curved blade and a glove that would go up to the elbow. When those men dropped silent, that executioner would come down off his pedestal. He would have an assistant, and they would start taking those men down, and they would be placing them on the table. Head here, feet to you. He would come over to that table, he would put that big glove on. You're going to know what that glove was for in a moment. And he would pick up that big curved blade. His assistant would open the shirts of those men, and that executioner would go down to the first man, and he would put that curved blade just below the belly button. I wouldn't do anything yet, because again, he would wait for that crowd. Lay them open for the king! Show them what it means to be treasonous! And when he thought they were worked up enough, oh, that blade would dive in and pull back, and it would open the entire stomach cavity. The glove. In would reach and start pulling out body parts. Well, eventually, that individual would pass. They would die. Each one would die. You cannot survive missing your insides. Now, when it was all done, the heads would be removed. The heads, that was an important thing. The heads would be placed in urns. They'd either be placed with salt or alcohol, a preservative, and they would be sent back, excuse me, I'm just going to come through. They would be sent back to England.
Sorry? I don't think I'm going to get my legs. Look at the orbs. See all the orbs?
Now we are inside England. We're going to talk a little bit more history to put some perspective on this area. Yeah.
Ready? 3, 2, just flash back there. Flash to them.
I don't know what you're doing.
Just flash the camera back to them. No, flash it down.
If you do exit out the way you should, you're not going to get out. So you got to go that way. Please drive safely. And once again, thank you for joining us tonight.